So let's talk about using inner selects with joins. With greater power comes greater responsibility. And when you use the trick of changing the name over here, you actually invite a bit of trouble because you are taking ownership and doing something that the code didn't anticipate you to do, and that means you might have to do some adjustments. So the most common problems that you may run into is working with joins, and let's add the problem to ourselves over here. Let's go ahead and add a customers table, and let's add a relation to the customers table of type inner join, where customer ID is equal to orders.customer ID. Now I'm going to commit this change for adding a join, and let's see what fun this gives us. So when we'll be running this code, and we'll run our code, we'll get a problematic answer here, because as you'll be able to see, okay, it says cannot find either column A or the user defined A or aggregate null, blah 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 blah. But you can actually see that happens in the code is that when we use join, okay, the orders table was defined as A, and customers table was defined in B. Now every column from the orders table was prefixed by A. But unfortunately the code doesn't know to distinguish our special cool columns, so it just added A dot to begin with. A dot is null, and that of course is illegal. So we need to find some kind of way to prevent the code from adding A dot at the beginning. Now in future versions of migrated application, it's going to be included in the box. But right now we're going to go to env and change the code that controls that. And I'm going to search it together with you. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to say that these columns start with an equal sign. And then I will look to columns where an equal sign is in their name and won't add the alias to them. So let's go and have a look at it. Let's go to SQL client. And let's find a get alias, I think, or something with alias. Now you're going to see me fumbling through the code. Tum 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 tum. Yeah, eventually I'll find it. At least I know what I'm looking for. Get column name. Yay! I love searching live in the middle of a video, but that's just to show you some authenticity to what we're doing here. Great, here we are. So we have a method called getColumnAlias that is used over here, and a getColumnAlias that is used over here. We want to take them both and say ignore the case where they have equal sign at the beginning. So I'm going to add a tilde over here, add the parenthesis over here, and then I'm going to say if x.name, the first character, is equal, then return parent prep column name of x.name dot substring 1, which means get everything after the equal sign. Otherwise, return everything as this. Now I'm making some kind of mistake. Yes, semicolon over here. Great. So this takes care of the normal case, the normal scenario. And the one when you have a join, which is handled, I'm guessing, over here. So again, we're going to open curly brackets. Great. And we're going to say pretty much the same thing. Else return this. Okay, so in the case of a join, if the column name starts with a 0, return the column name as is, and otherwise go get the alias and do the things with it. Now, just follow this code when you need to. Fix these two places of code in SQL client in these line numbers. We'll look at it in a second, but let's see what we get now. So now when we run our code, okay, we're getting a different problem, because it's saying that orders.orderID could not be bound because there is no such thing as orders.orderID anymore. Remember, orders is now aliased by A. We can take this query and run it in our SQL Management Studio to get a better understanding of what it does. Let's go stop the .NET code. It shows us that this is unfamiliar to it because orders is now named A. So to get this to run, I'm going to say A over here and A over here. And let's run it, and it runs now. So we'll need to make the same adjustments to our code. In our code, we'll need to say A and A, and everything would run. At least until the next problem. Perfect, everything runs. And if we look at the profiler, we can see that the select statement that came out now was even more interesting because it's selecting the information from order ID, it's selecting our selects, and it's joining two customers. So we're pretty much doing quite a few things in a single query that takes just 2 milliseconds and returns the result for us. So let's just recap about what we've done, because it's been 6.5 minutes, so it's worth recapping. Remember, the initial problem was that the isNull was added to it, the prefix of the aliases like A dot, B dot, etc. And we needed to eliminate that. So we changed the select to add an equal sign over here, and we changed the SQL client class one time, okay, once, to replace the logic of instead of providing the name as is, to check if the name starts with an equal sign, and if so, remove the equal sign and return the name as is. Okay, so this is the code that we've changed. This will probably be part of later versions of the migrated code. And in our specific controller, the changes are actually quite simple. We've added the equal sign, okay, to use the code that we've written in the SQL client, and we've changed the orders with A to support the aliasing that was determined here. Great, hope you like this. Let's see where we can take it from here.